Welcome to the first episode of our Own It podcast.
Yay!
My name is Ron and I'll be the host for all the future episodes of our Own It podcast. First of all, why are we called Own It? Property ownership is centric in our business, so we help people own their properties. And apart from that, what is more meaningful to us is also owning it means we are taking accountability for our clients and their journey in their property ownership. And also is a slang that we are owning it. That means we are very good at what we do. Apart from that, let's talk about today's topic. So property prices are going through the roof, as most of us are talking about. And is it still worth it to buy 2 or more properties? We'll be discussing this today. So, owning 2 properties, is it still feasible? And why do people actually want to own 2 properties?
I would think it's actually all Singaporean dream if it's within our affordability to own 2 properties. Because ultimately, one property we need for own stay, and then the other one will be for passive income, for investment, and for capital appreciation.
It's like a Singapore dream.
Yeah,
Singapore dream,
correct.
You own 2 properties, you go out, you tell people that, hey,
yeah, man, yeah.
I own 2 properties, you know.
Yeah.
And of course, buying properties is a very good investment strategy. At the same time, it's almost a forced saving because you have to, pay for the mortgages. But at the same time, the property in Singapore appreciate over time. As we can see from our property price index, it's been increasing steadily over the last 30 years.
How many you own?
I own 2 properties.
Oh, yeah, Singapore dream.
Because I think the government is also doing a very good job with all the cooling measures. So I feel safe and assured that the property price, it will actually go up steadily and will weather all the storms. Like what we can see during the COVID time. And even when the interest rate is high, the last year and until now, property price is still going up steadily.
Hey, by the way, you own your second property is before ABSD or after ABSD?
After ABSD.
How many percent?
20%.
Oh, you paid 20%?
No. Actually, me and my wife we decouple.
Oh.
Each of us own one. Yeah. So we didn't really pay additional stamp duty for the second property. But in fact, I also have clients that actually pay the 20% to own the second property.
What's the logic actually?
The rationale behind this is because they believe that, if we go through the investment, we understand that positive cash flow is important. So if my client, that particular client is buying for rental income purposes, and they pay the ABSD, they buy the property, they rent it out, and the renter actually cover the mortgages, to them it's actually a long-term saving thing. At the end of the day, capital appreciation plus the rental income will cover the ABSD.
Okay. So that's like a very long-term strategy.
Yes, of course.
But I also see that in recent times, we experience more and more customers actually like upgrade their 2-bedder to 3 or 4 bedders or even a landed property. So that said, like people are not owning 2 properties, they are using one name, but they try to own bigger properties already. So what is that what you see in the market as well?
Yes, I think if it's within the affordability, of course, we will want to own a bigger unit compared to a smaller unit. Because in terms of capital appreciation, also the bigger unit, you will get a higher gain when you sell the property. Actually, even for projects that just TOP, if you look into the listing portals, you realize that actually there are a lot of units, 1 and 2 bedroom out for sales. In fact, when you want to search for a 3 or 4 bedroom, it is actually quite hard to find.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Especially the bigger 3-bedders that I was marketing for a brand new TOP project. Yeah. Basically, there's not many 3-bedders in the market, and I have buyers looking for 4-bedders, and there's basically no stock. So I think there's one group of people who are not owning 2, but they are actually owning one big one. And at TOP, there's no supply at all. So you are the only one selling it. And we saw that the price jump is actually very big from the 3 to the 4-bedder, right?
Because last year I was marketing my clients 3 bedroom plus utility room unit at Florence Residences after TOP. I see that the response inquiry is very strong for my unit type. Although there are other 3-bedrooms for sales, but those are 3 bedrooms without yard, without utility. Yeah.
So that, I guess, is also the reason why people are going for bigger units, especially after COVID.
Yeah, because during COVID, a lot of work from home. A lot of buyers realized that actually a bigger space create a more comfortable lifestyle, and while they work from home, they actually have a better space for them to perform for their work. So at the end of the day, it really depends on the buyer strategy in the way how they wanted to invest their money.
Yeah, in fact, my client who is looking for bigger property, 4-bedroom, but actually they only need 3. They say, what if COVID happen again? Because remember back then COVID, we are actually stuck at home. We cannot even go out. Go to supermarket is our best retail, what you call that, retail therapy. Supermarket is our best retail therapy. Then the next thing is go park. Before these two, we can only stay at home. So I think that is also part of the reason why people are going for bigger units also. But still, coming back to owning 2 properties, of course, if we can own 2 big properties, that would be perfect, right? But how do people still can own 2 properties in the sense if they want to have one own stay, like you say, and one for passive income, right? One way is owning a HDB and then a private property maybe to get rental income. I think a lot of people still do not know how they can actually own a HDB and a private property.
I think I do have a customer. Yeah, they actually bought a resale HDB, but they are very clever. They plan beforehand. So the wife is the owner. Then they put the husband's name as an essential occupier. So after 5-year MOP, right, the husband's is under his name. There is no properties, so he can actually buying another property without paying ABSD.
Actually, there's a catch to this because first, of course, they have to wait 5 years for the MOP. Whereas if they have decided on a private property on the onstart, they only need to wait 3 years. Then they can already purchase the second property, or actually they can purchase together. Just like me and my wife, we purchase together. 2 property at the same time, and both property, of course, appreciate over the last few years. Having said that, the timeline also is play a very important part for the investor itself. And of course, at the same time, if you have such an arrangement, they also have to take note that the EO, the essential occupier, their CPF, could not be used as a purchase for the HDB, and also the loan eligibility also is different.
Loan eligibility. So it's really something that a lot of people wanted to know how to do, but after they find out, they actually realize that it's not so easy. And even if you can actually afford one HDB on your own, I think things to look out for is also whether you'll be priced out of the market. Because just take a look at last 5 years, since 2019, right? 2019, then 5 years down the road, how much a private property has actually appreciated. And a lot of people that I met, they kind of get priced out in terms of they were waiting for the market to come down, or like this case, they are waiting for their MOP to be over. And I think what is the double whammy is actually for people who don't want to sell their existing property. They do not have any capital to leverage on. So of course today we see HDB prices also went up a lot. But if the goal is not to sell the HDB, they do not have any capital to actually pull out, to actually enter again into the private market. So I think what Larry did is quite wise.
Of course. Yeah, because of course there's a lot of thinking process behind the decision to buy 2 private instead of buying a resale HDB, wait for 5 years. In my own scenario, I can also do the same, and then get another private. The timeline is one issue. Of course, the loan is also another issue. Because if let's say we buy a resale HDB, the location that we will prefer will be quite high, the price, maybe close to 1 million. Let's take 1 million as an example. So for 1 million HDB, for a single person, how much income do they need to earn to be able to loan for about 750,000? Bearing in mind is because why we need to max loan it, because at the same time we are planning our another sum of as investment for another private property. That's why we have to take care of every dollar and cents. So for 1 million property, to loan 750,000 based on mortgage servicing ratio, which is different from the private, is you need to earn an income of 14,000 per month.
14,000.
Yeah. Whereas for the same income, if you have go for a private property based on the mortgage servicing, total debt servicing ratio of 55%, you can actually buy a 2 million property because you are eligible for about 1.6 million loan. Okay, this is bearing in mind that we are below 35 years old. Means you are able to loan for a maximum of 25 years for HDB and 30 years for private. So whereas the asset class is different, so based on investment return, even of the same ROI, the quantum return is higher because you have put into a more pricier investment. So that's my consideration.
But why do you think people are still owning? They still feel that I want to own one HDB first. You all heard before or not?
Yeah.
You all heard before or not? Like I have my clients, their parents say, hey, HDB must get first one. You must get the HDB first. You cannot start with anything else. You must start with HDB.
Most of the answer I get is the rental yield is very high. Example, if they don't buy a $1 million HDB, they are just buying a 500,000 HDB, but they can rent out like $3,500 to $4,000 per month, versus with buying a $1 million private property and collecting the same rental. Of course, the capital outlay is lesser and the return is higher per month.
But if they don't sell the HDB in the long run, then how do they release their capital? Because I think if we are still within the income working age, we should be trying to elevate our capital so that we can actually grow our asset net worth. Maybe when we reach retirement age, I think maybe a passive income model would be more suitable.
I will think that our HDB is top notch in a way compared to, I would say the world is considered a top notch. Of course, as a parent myself, I also will think that I will encourage my kids to take HDB first. But of course, this depends on the age of the buyer itself. Because in our HDB now, actually our government, even when you have no income, you also can apply for HDB due to the new recent policy, which actually is very good. But for private, at the end of the day, if they wanted to start with a private, they definitely have to have some form of, a certain level of income. It's like salary income or their own self-employed income before they can actually embark on a private. So this really depends on how much support they have as a buyer.
How ready they are.
Yes, how ready they are. Yeah.
We are not advocating to
yes.
Audience that you need to support your kids.
Yeah, of course, I'm not. But
how ready they
how
are.
they ready they are, and also at the same time, it's also depend on how hungry they are. Also, yeah.
Okay.
But I would say you can start small. Let's say if you are not able to buy a 3 or 4 bedroom, it's still good to start early and to start small if it's within your affordability.
I think the best time to buy property is always yesterday. So start from what we can afford. Then go for what within our means, not overstress. Then throughout the years, build our incomes. Then go for bigger dreams.
Small properties is also like 1.7, 1.5 to 1.7 for a 2-bedroom.
This really depends on if
locations and the tenure.
If they're looking for resale, I think there's still pretty much a property of 2-bedder below, maybe between 1.3 to 1.6. I think they're still readily available for 2-bedder. If they really stuck with 1-bedder, they're still below 1 million available in the market. Of course, they have to find the right person to speak to so that they can get the correct advice from. Yeah,
exactly. So what I'm quoting just now is actually a new launch market. New launch market, 2-bedders, we are looking at 1.5 to 1.6 million. Some is even 2-bed, 1-bath, and it is in the outskirts area. So I think that put a lot of people at the sideline. But there's also a class of private property that is actually the private resale. The private resale actually allows people to actually enter the market. First thing is they are able to enter lower. They will still be enjoying the rental income if they don't need a space for own stay, and they will not be tied down for 5 years.
Yeah.
I think that is one very important point, because our colleagues, we have actually also seen people going into the resale market and making that margin, and eventually, of course, they still go into the new launch market. I guess in our line, we see a lot of new launches that over time do appreciate. Especially now I know that we are actually marketing a lot of brand new properties, right, for our clients, and the kind of profit they make, I think it's very encouraging. It's very encouraging. So we are getting people to actually look into the new launch market. But of course, if they are not as ready as they should be, they can always start, like what Jade says, right? Start smaller, start at another asset class, which is the private resale.
Because I'm marketing a super high floor 2-bedroom unit now. It's only like 2 years old. 2 years from TOP, about 1.2 million only in the Singapore second CBD. Yeah. So panoramic view.
That's nice. So if eventually there is for property, there's a lot of different type of property like new launch, resale. We have different region like CCR, OCR, RCR. At the end of the day, the buyer or the investor need to find the right property that's suitable for themselves. The returns, the potential capital gain, and of course the location must also be suitable for the investor itself. So definitely everyone will have a certain idea of what they want. But of course, it will be better if they find someone with experience and then they speak to them and then they have a good discussion. Because buying property in Singapore can be straightforward, it can be also be very complicated.
Yes.
But then again, I think price is what you pay and value is what you get. So something that is very affordable, very low price, and something that's expensive does not equate to its value. So I think it's still important to speak to a professional consultant, real estate consultant.
I think end of the day, what we are saying here is everyone start with a plan in mind. But we plan out our plan based on our knowledge, and exactly what both Larry and Jade have shared. It's not that you need to speak to someone, but speaking to someone who knows the market actually opens up more avenues for you to actually explore. And you do not really, you are not actually obligated to actually go another way or change your plan entirely. But knowing more will actually give you more options, and that little tweak in your plan may actually set you ahead of your peers or ahead of your time, with 3 or 5 years ahead. And I think that really makes a very big difference, especially when we see that today's property market, within 3 years, you can actually uplift so high, so much, and someone's wealth can just exponentially increase with such a planning. Just keep an open mind. I think if you are thinking about, whether owning one property, one big property, landed properties, or even talking about how you eventually can actually go for that Singapore dream to own 2 or more properties, why not talk to someone, your trusted realtor, that you can actually knock more ideas off each other and actually know exactly where the limits are, and then you can actually tread your plans accordingly. But of course, if you do not have a realtor that you actually can speak to any of our Own It realtors. You can actually find us on our website, www.ownitrealestate.sg. So all of us, you can see how we actually help our clients exit, upgrade, or even buy properties. If you are in the market looking to upgrade or even enter the market for the first time, don't feel shy. Speak to any of your professional realtors and actually get more ideas and start your journey as soon as possible. Like what Sophia said, the best time is always
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. All right, so I think this first episode will be a wrap, and Thank you so much for spending your time with us. And if you have any more questions, feel free to actually drop us a DM and we'll be glad to actually throw out some ideas for you.